some mysteries never get solved. Imagine someone you love vanishing without a trace. No goodbyes, no explanations, just silence. This is the reality for dozens of families in the Philippines whose loved ones disappeared from the world of cockfighting. Sabungeros who never came home. What happened inside those arenas? Who has the power to erase people so completely? The silence from authorities only deepens the mystery. As we dig into this case, we'll uncover the hidden world of Sabong, the lives lost, and the desperate search for answers. January 13th, 2022. A seemingly ordinary day like any other. The sun rose, casting its familiar glow over the bustling city of Manila. Little did anyone know, this day would soon be etched in the collective memory, not for what happened in the light, but for the darkness that would follow. It was a Thursday, the second week into the new year, and life was proceeding as usual for most. But for a select few families, this day marked the beginning of an agonizing, unending nightmare. 6 men from Manila, fathers, pillars of their families, brothers bound by blood and shared experiences, friends connected by camaraderie and shared passions, headed to the Manila arena for a cockfight, expecting an ordinary day filled with the usual excitement and friendly competition. They anticipated the thrill of the game, the cheers of the crowd, and the camaraderie of fellow enthusiasts. It was a routine they had followed countless times before, a source of entertainment and social connection. They never returned. The vibrant energy they carried that morning was extinguished, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a void that continues to haunt their loved ones. Phones went silent, calls went straight to voicemail, messages remained unread, and the digital connection to these men was abruptly severed. Families grew frantic as hours passed with no word, their initial concern morphing into a gnawing fear. The silence was deafening, amplifying their anxieties with each tick of the clock. The search led to dead ends. Every lead turned cold, every avenue explored yielded nothing but frustration and despair. The arena, usually alive with noise, offered no clues, just a wall of silence, a stark contrast to the boisterous atmosphere it once held. It was as if the men had vanished into thin air, leaving no trace behind. Soon families learned their loved ones weren't the only ones missing, a realization that sent shivers down their spines and deepened the mystery. Other Sabungeros had vanished from arenas across the country, a disturbing trend that pointed to something far more sinister than a simple coincidence. A chilling pattern emerged, organized, methodical, and sinister, suggesting a deliberate and calculated operation. This was no isolated incident, but a widespread phenomenon that had gripped the nation with fear and uncertainty. The mystery had grown into a silent epidemic sweeping through the cockfighting community, leaving behind a trail of broken hearts and unanswered prayers. Sabong, to the uninitiated, might seem like a simple blood sport, but it's so much more than that. It's a deeply ingrained tradition, a tight-knit subculture built on trust, respect, and a shared passion. It's a world where handshakes seal deals and friendships are forged in the heat of competition. The community thrives on a code of honor, where a man's word is his bond. But the disappearances shattered that trust like a mirror struck with a hammer. The foundations of their society began to crack, revealing a darkness that had been lurking beneath the surface. Replacing camaraderie with fear, a chilling unease settled over the community. The vibrant atmosphere that once defined their gatherings was replaced by a palpable sense of dread. Whispers of danger spread like wildfire, carried on the wind, fueling the growing paranoia. Every shadow seemed to conceal a threat, every stranger a potential enemy. People were too afraid to speak openly, their voices hushed, their words carefully chosen, fearing the consequences of being overheard. Silence became their only refuge. Fearing for their own safety, they constantly looked over their shoulders, their eyes darting nervously, searching for any sign of danger. Trust had become a luxury they could no longer afford. The code of silence, once a matter of honor, became a shield, a desperate attempt to protect themselves from an unknown enemy, making it nearly impossible for investigators to piece together the truth, to penetrate the wall of silence that had descended upon the community, or for families to get answers. to find closure, to understand what had happened to their loved ones. The uncertainty was a torment, a constant reminder of their loss. Families pleaded for help, their voices hoarse with desperation, their hearts heavy with grief. They begged for someone to break the silence, to offer a glimmer of hope, but were met with averted eyes, with faces turned away in fear, with a collective refusal to acknowledge the darkness that had consumed their world, and closed doors symbolizing the impenetrable barrier of silence and fear that separated them from the truth. The arenas, once lively hubs of excitement and camaraderie, now felt like hunting grounds, silent and ominous, where predators stalked their prey under the cover of darkness. Suspicion and tension hung heavy in the air, poisoning the atmosphere, turning friends into potential enemies. Replaced excitement, leaving behind a void, an emptiness that echoed the fear in their hearts. The message was clear, a stark warning etched in the silence and fear. New, deadly rules governed this world, a twisted code enforced by unseen forces, where loyalty was tested and betrayal was a constant threat, and breaking them could cost your life, a grim reality that hung over the community like a shroud. The pandemic pushed Sabong online, creating E-Sabong, a billion-peso industry accessible from any device. But this digital shift brought chaos. E-Sabong was largely unregulated, attracting loan sharks, scammers, and criminal syndicates. Game fixing and taking a dive became rampant. Winning big could make you a target. Some missing men had recently won large sums or hinted at involvement in something dangerous. The digital arena, with its anonymity and high stakes, became a trap. The families began to suspect that E-Sabong's dark underbelly was connected to the disappearances. The game was no longer just about skill, it was about survival. With no physical clues, families and investigators turned to the digital world. Social media, chat logs, betting records. They uncovered evidence of large transactions, secret online groups, and coordinated betting strategies. Some missing Sabungeros were allegedly manipulating odds, winning too often, and drawing the ire of powerful syndicates. The theory: these men were abducted as punishment, a warning to others not to cheat the house. But the digital trail was hard to follow. Encrypted apps and anonymous profiles hid the criminals' identities. The technology that fueled E-Sabong also protected those who used it for crime. 2 years have passed. For the families, every day is a battle between hope and despair. They've become activists, organizing rallies and speaking out, desperate for justice and answers. The documentary Lost Sabungeros brought renewed attention, but closure remains elusive. The emotional and financial toll is immense. Jobs lost, savings spent, children growing up without fathers. Their lives are suspended, defined by the day their loved ones vanished. Still, they wait, hoping for a breakthrough that will end their long vigil. After months of pressure, police arrested 6 suspects linked to the Manila arena disappearances. Arena personnel. Witnesses finally came forward and charges were filed for kidnapping and illegal detention. But hope was short-lived. A judge allowed the suspects to post bail, citing weak evidence. The families were devastated, feeling betrayed by the justice system. Their faith shaken, they faced the painful reality that justice might slip away. The fight was far from over. The Department of Justice appealed the bail decision, reigniting hope for the families. Months dragged on as the case moved through the courts. Finally, the Court of Appeals overturned the bail, declaring the evidence strong and ordering the suspects' rearrest. It was a major victory, a sign that persistence could pay off. The suspects would face trial, and the families felt a step closer to accountability. Justice was slow, but the truth was finally within reach. A series of disappearances, shrouded in mystery, has gripped the cockfighting world. Each case a puzzle piece, seemingly unrelated on the surface. But beneath the veneer of chance, a sinister connection lurks. What links all these disappearances? What thread ties together these vanished men? All figures within the intricate tapestry of the Sabong community. The answer cloning, a controversial practice, often associated with sterile laboratories and cutting-edge science. Not in a lab, but in the world of cockfighting. A different kind of cloning, one born not of test tubes, but of ambition and greed within the high-stakes world of Sabong. Cloning here means breeding and selling champion-line fighting cocks. The unauthorized duplication of prized bloodlines, a practice that cuts to the heart of the cockfighting economy without the original breeder's permission. A clandestine operation conducted in the shadows, bypassing the established channels and undermining the authority of the original breeders. A lucrative, high-stakes fraud. Fortunes are won and lost on the turn of a card, the skill of a fighter, and the bloodline of a rooster. To clone a champion is to steal a piece of that fortune, a gamble with deadly consequences. The missing men were skilled breeders, masters of their craft, intimately familiar with the nuances of bloodlines and breeding techniques, allegedly involved in cloning the prized bloodlines of powerful figures. These weren't just any roosters. They were investments, symbols of power, and the foundation of vast empires within the cockfighting world. This was seen as the ultimate betrayal, a violation of the unspoken code that governs the Sabong community. Threatening fortunes and reputations, the stakes were incredibly high, and the consequences for crossing the wrong people could be fatal. The disappearances were a brutal warning, a stark reminder of the power dynamics at play and the lengths to which some would go to protect their interests. Steal from the syndicate, and you pay the price. A message delivered in the most chilling way possible, silencing those who dared to challenge the established order. The search for the missing Sabungeros continues, a race against time to uncover the truth and bring those responsible to justice. And their families' fight for justice is far from over. Their unwavering determination serves as a beacon of hope in the face of overwhelming odds. Their story reminds us that some mysteries hide in plain sight, concealed within the familiar, waiting to be unraveled, waiting for someone to ask the right questions, to pierce the veil of secrecy and expose the dark underbelly of this world. Don't miss out on future explorations and discoveries. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated with our new content. Your journey of wonder continues with every video. Stay connected and engaged on social media. Continue the conversation, follow us. Thank you for being a part of the Have You Ever Wondered community. Keep wondering, keep discovering. Until next time.